For the last decade, Wisconsin-Whitewater has dominated Division III football, winning 5 of the past 9 championships. But Mary-Hardin Baylor is going for its 3rd straight trip to the finals after winning it all 2 years ago. 2 of the best in the nation meet for a spot in the Stag Bowl. Welcome to the NCAA Division III semifinals on ESPN. After a wet 48-hour stretch, the skies have eased up just a bit as we welcome you to Belton, Texas, the home for the University of Mary-Hardin Baylor. Today, the 2nd-ranked Crusaders host the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. The Warhawks fly south, ranked 4th, both teams unbeaten. Both teams looking to advance to the Stag Bowl. Mount Union with a lead over John Hopkins. That game has went final, so a ticket already punched. Who will be Mount Union's opponent next weekend? Hi everybody, Sean Kinney alongside Coach Al Groh. Great to have you with us. Really no surprise today. This was the semifinal that everybody expected. These 2 dominant Division III programs have had a remarkable season and really a remarkable decade.
Their styles are a little bit different, Sean, but the blueprint's the same. They both have a terrific infrastructure that will support championship football within the overall university, and they have veteran leadership that has a plan that works. They know how to do it.
UW-Whitewater has built their winning program around playing fast, physical, and disciplined football, and nobody embodies that more than their star defensive end, Harry Henschler.
Well, he's athletic, he's relentless, he loves to play, and he just has a nose for the ball. He knows where that football is going to be.
Henschler has had such a big year. He was a semifinalist for the Gagliardi Trophy, which is the Heisman equivalent at Division III. Mary-Hardin Baylor features explosive speed, and they have a talented running back in Markeith Miller.
Well, he's a power back, but he combines that with lateral quickness, which allows him to make jump cuts at the line of scrimmage and therefore get into the secondary.
The 6-time national champion Warhawks are back in the spotlight. Mary-Hardin Baylor primed for a 3rd straight run to the Stag Bowl. Kickoff coming up next. It really has been a messy weekend here in Texas the past couple of days. Heavy rain. The good news, it's eased up a bit, but it is on the chilly side. If you're a Texan, 44 degrees, it's balmy. If you're from Whitewater, there's a good look at Kevin Bullis in his 4th year. When Lance Leipold left UW-Whitewater for the Buffalo head job, there was a lot of concern on who would carry on the winning ways. They stayed in family when they promoted Kevin Bullis, and he has delivered. On the other side, Pete Fredenberg, the Texas Sports Hall of Famer, has been there since day 1 of this Mary-Hardin Baylor football program. The longtime coach has led the Crusaders the past 21 years since its inception back in 1998.
Sean, the way I would describe the approach of these 2 coaches, these teams are built with nuts and bolts. That means they're ready to withstand whatever challenges come up. There are no gadgets or gimmicks that have gotten them to the semifinals on an annual basis.
UMHB trying to figure out a way to beat UW-Whitewater. You saw that graphic, 5-0 for the Warhawks. They've won the last 2 in their trips to Belton. Short kick, taken at the 15, straight up the middle, and a big semifinal hit put on as Whitewater will start just shy of the 30-yard line.
Well, that big hit, Sean, that was characteristic of the play of middle linebacker Dre Jackson in there. He's a heavy puncher. He's their heavyweight fighter in the middle of the defense.
Cole Wilbur has been the 3-year starter for the Warhawks. He's really played his best football over the past month, 24 touchdowns, just the 8 interceptions for the senior from California, and they will try to get this ground game going on 1st down, and they have a 2-headed dragon with their 2 backs, Alex Pete and Ronnie Ponick.
Even though Whitewater is a little bit more of a ground and pound team than Mary-Hardin Baylor, the quickest back on the field is Alex Pete, number 23, one of the 2 alternating tailbacks for Whitewater.
Pete is only a sophomore, but he plays like an upperclassman. He's rushed for over 1,300 yards this year. Second down and 5. He'll test the waters on that right side. A little bit better job by the Crusader D. And this sets up a third down and short. And third downs were a problem area last week for UW-Whitewater as they went just 4 of 14.
Each particular team has had phenomenal success on offense all season long, but equally good on defense. So the matchup of the third down offenses against the third down defenses is like the game within the game.
4 receivers set, 1 running back for Cole Wilbur.
There's no mystery as to what Mary-Hardin Baylor is going to play. They're going to rush 4 and play a soft 2-deep zone on 8 out of 10 third downs.
For the third straight time, they keep it on the ground, and a hole opens up for Pete, and a third down conversion for the Warhawks.
Smart call by UW-Whitewater. They recognized that Mary-Hardin Baylor was in their third down defense. That had the linebackers deep, the safeties soft. There was a big opening in the middle. They checked to it from the sideline. That's good communication from the press box.
Big kick out block delivered by the junior right guard, Brian Barrett, first-year starter on this very talented offensive line. So the sophomore Pete moves the chains. First down for UW-Whitewater, the ball sniffing midfield. Wilbur's going to throw for the first time. Little hitch pattern through the hands of Derek Kumaro, incomplete. Coverage by Keith Gibson.
Well, Keith Gibson was playing the corner position in this 2-deep zone. Now, this is the so-called Tampa 2 defense. In this type of cover 2, all the defenders just go to a spot. They don't really relate to the receivers. They get their eyes on the quarterback, so they get a very good break on the ball. That's what happened on that play, and that's why they have the phenomenal number of 29 interceptions this year. It's an interception defense by seeing where the quarterback's going.
The #1 defense in Division III football for takeaways. Trying to stretch it with the corner goes Pete. Penalty flag flies in as he's driven out of bounds by Raylan Hickey. Let's see what the game's first flag is all about.
Well, that was a corner blitz from the short side of the field here, and the wide receiver from the Warhawks was called for a block in the back against the corner who was blitzing.
Offense, #1. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Remains. Second down.
Flags on the sophomore Derek Kumaro. This is a receiving core that's depleted today for UW-Whitewater. No Ryan Wisniewski. He did not make the trip. The team's leader in receptions this year, the sophomore from Sparta, out with an injury, so you'll see a lot more of Kumaro this afternoon. So after the penalty, second down and 20 for Wilbur. Play fake, they whip it out quickly and defended nicely by Mary-Hardin Baylor. Nowhere for Mitchell Dess, the speedster, to go. Hickey again, the first one to greet him.
Second and 20, now third and 15. This is Crusader football. This is the way they like to play defense. They play that cover 2. They've repped it so often during the course of the season that they're experts at running it. They know exactly where their place is in the defense. They're going to get deep to the sticks now. At the very best, the Warhawks can expect to throw something soft underneath and try to pick up some yardage after the catch.
A little bit more difficult chore for Cole Wilbur on this third down. They rush 4. Wilbur's going to tuck and run. He has a lot of work to do, and wisely he's escorted out by Gibson. Well shy of the first down, so the penalty comes back to slow down Wisconsin-Whitewater, and they'll send out the punting unit.
Well, to take off and run like that on third and 15, that's exactly what the Crusaders want the quarterback to do. They know he's not going to run for 15. If they had the wishbone from the Thanksgiving turkey, they had to make a wish on all those third and longs. They'd wish that the quarterback tries to scramble.
That is K.J. Miller. He has returned 3 punts for touchdowns. The other guy next to him, Aaron Sims, he's returned 4 for scores this year. Whitewater won't give them an opportunity. So a strong start for the Crusaders. We'll see this high-powered offense when we return to Belton. It is a wet afternoon in Belton. Mary-Hardin, Baylor, and Wisconsin-Whitewater at stake, a berth in next weekend's Stag Bowl. Both of these defenses have been outstanding. Eye-popping numbers stopping the run.
It's remarkable, and you got to play line of scrimmage football to be a championship team, and both these teams dominate with their running attack.
Well, it will be Mary-Hardin Baylor to test the running game. Patient run by Markeith Miller, who has rushed for over 1,000 yards the last 3 seasons. The senior from Garland hoping to have a big day today.
There's going to be tough sledding up in there in the middle against this Whitewater defense. However, Markeith Miller has the patience to let things sort out as he showed us on that play.
Jace Hammock is a transfer from Abilene Christian. He'll stretch it to Miller, nowhere to go. That time David O'Gorman. He's the stout interior tackle, able to shadow the elusive back.
Now here on third down, we will see Whitewater utilizing more man-for-man coverage and a greater diversity of coverages than what Mary-Hardin Baylor will use on third down when they are primarily in there too deep.
This is an offense that scored at least 75 points in 5 different games this year. Third down and 3, they will go on the ground, and a first down for the Crew up to the 45-yard line. It's a gain of 9 for Miller.
Both teams use exactly the same strategy on their first third down, in that they spread the defense out with a wide open formation, but hammered the ball right up inside in the guard tackle gap. Each team thinking the same way. Hey, if you want to play third down defense, we're going to give you first down runs.
Miller had such a huge season. He was the South Region Offensive Player of the Year. School and conference record, 27 rushing touchdowns this year. Play fake, Hammock's going to throw for the first time. They love this screen game. Defended well by the Warhawks out past midfield. Falling forward is KJ Miller. Matt Anderson brings him down.
The Crusaders run quite a few of the very popular RPO, run pass option, in which the quarterback has the choice to hand the ball off or to throw it out to an outside receiver. There's an opportunity for yardage. Good choice on that. We'll get into more detail in how a quarterback makes his decision.
On second down, it will be Miller, stood up at the line of scrimmage, and he is driven back, picks up maybe a yard. Bryce Lashinsky, the leader of this defense from the linebacking core, the first one to hit him.
We can expect a similar approach from Mary-Hardin Baylor as on the first third and short. Okay, that is perhaps an RPO. That is, they want to give the ball to Markeith Miller to pound it for the sticks. But if they're over the fence inside, they'll whip it outside for an easy catch and run play.
Reed and Sims to the bottom. Josie and Miller, the 2 receivers, to the top. Miller stays in the game on third down. Hammock will look to throw. Pressure on the edge, and he's sacked. Back at the 46-yard line. Anderson came through untouched.
Well, that was very nicely done by the Warhawks, in that they baited Mary-Hardin Baylor into throwing the RPO, but after they showed him loaded box, throw the RPO, they brought pressure off the perimeter, nobody to block them after the ball was faked inside. Some real good coaching decisions going on here early in the game.
Anderson picks up his 3rd sack of the year, and that was something head coach Kevin Bolus told me yesterday. He loves Anderson's speed. He's like a safety playing linebacker. Deep punt, nowhere to go on the return for Josh Ringelberg. As you see the punter, Holton Iankoff, limp his way toward the Crusader sideline.
Well, Iankoff got bumped. He wanted a call. He's trying to sell it by limping off the field, but obviously he's not going to convince anybody.
A little bump, but this is semifinal football. No flag here for the Shakespeare Act. Kevin Bolus joked with the media all week, talking about replacing the legend in Whitewater in Lance Leipold, and he said you never want to follow a legend. Well, he's done a pretty good job. Leipold won 6 national titles in his 8 years. Nobody reached 100 wins faster. He was hired by the University of Buffalo in 2015. This year he guided Buffalo to the MAC championship game, and they're getting set to take on Troy in the Dollar General Bowl. But Bolus was on his staff. He was an assistant for 7 years. UW-Whitewater wanted to keep it in family, and you talk to a lot of folks around the Whitewater area. They hired the right guy, and here they are back in that national spotlight after missing the playoffs last year and working deep in their own end.
Well, D. Jackson's had a special teams tackle and a tackle on the first play of each possession for UW-Whitewater. He's a force in the middle of the defense for the Crusaders, and there's quite a matchup in there with him and Nate Trewin, the excellent center for UW-Whitewater.
Second down and 9. They again will try to punch it inside. Tough running. Second and third effort. That's all on the running back as he surges ahead out past the 15. Alex Pete with a tough nose run.
Both of these teams employ 4 down linemen in their defense. They're strong, physical. The Crusaders down linemen, they're an aggressive off the ball, knock the blockers back style of defense. They're going to try to beat the blockers to the punch, and so far they have done that on most of the running plays early in the game.
A prolific rushing attack this year for UW-Whitewater. Third down for the Warhawks. Pressure comes over the middle and the catch is made. It looks like it's about a yard shy of the first down. Kumaro hauled it in, and this will all be dependent on the spot, and it looks like about a half a yard shy.
Well, that was a textbook example of how to play the Tampa 2 defense. The receiver was lined up wide to the right. He came in on a slant into the soft area of the defense, try to create a catch and run play. Martin, the outside linebacker, held his position perfectly, got a great break on the ball, and a terrific tackle, knocking the receiver down short of the sticks.
The freshman Zach Lahasik on the punt. This is only his second game punting. The starter Andy Cooper went down with an injury earlier in the playoffs. The speedster Sims and Miller both converge on the ball. It's Miller who ends up with it, and terrific special teams play by Whitewater. The first one down there was their starting safety. That was Jacob Fry. Loss of 3 on the return, and series number 2 today for the Crusaders.
Part of the formula for the Crusaders to be here in the semifinals is amazing special teams play. They've had 7 punt returns for touchdowns this year, 4 by Miller, 3 by Sims. It's an issue every time the ball is punted. The excitement starts when these two guys catch the ball. That's a necessary play, as it will be the whole game, for Whitewater to limit the punt return yardage.
They have put up a lot of points this year, and it's not just been the offense, special teams and the defense, everybody getting in the act. Speaking of points, they're going to take a shot. Sims goes up, and he can't make the catch. It was there, the hit put on by Nate Trannell. A good throw by Hammock, but the speedster from Texas A&M, Aaron Sims, unable to haul it in.
Well, that's going to be a critical matchup in this game, is the speed of the slot receivers, Sims and Miller, against the safeties of UW-Whitewater, Trammell and Bruning. In that case, Trannell was right on it. He played the ball in the deep field excellently, knocked it away as the receiver tried to put it away.
It is a swirling wind inside Crusader Stadium today. Second down and 10 from the 39. They're going to run that little jet sweep pass as they flip it to John L. Reed, and it is cornered beautifully that time by Bailey Breinig, the starting safety, able to bring him down, a gain of 3.
Trannell and Breinig have showed on these 2 plays, one 40 yards deep down the field, the other one on the line of scrimmage, how versatile and significant the safeties are in the UW-Whitewater defense. Multiple substitutions now for the Warhawks as they go to their pure third down nickel package. They've got speed at all 4 down rushing positions.
Hammock has that strong breeze behind him on this third down play. 3rd and 7. It's a low snap on the delayed handoff. Miller is able to get outside, tries to make a defender miss, and he does. Look at the effort by Markeith Miller. Holy cow. Dead to right, he squirts it outside for first down yardage.
He made maximum use of the two best tools in his toolbox. That is power initially and lateral quickness and the spin on top of it. That's how he turned a dire-looking circumstance into an important first down for the Crusaders.
He stepped out of bounds close to where the sticks are, so they're going to measure. And that is a clear-cut example of why he has rushed for over 4,000 yards in his outstanding career, has set 3 school records because of runs like we just saw.
With both of these offenses being as high-scoring as they are, keeping the ball away from the opponent is a critical part of this game, and a first down like that is really significant early in the game.
It's a family affair when you look at Markeith Miller. His older brother Malcolm played football for the Crew. He has a younger brother, Montana, who's coming through the ranks. You see him step out of bounds with that right foot. Now I'll be anxious to see if Whitewater challenges, because it looks like where he stepped out, that might not be enough for the first down. The officials come together.
This is one Whitewater would be wise to let the replay booth do the
ruling
challenge.
on the previous play of the runner making the first down is under review.
So they are going to go upstairs for the first time and take a number of looks at where Miller stepped out of bounds.
And the reason I would say let the replay booth do it with the ball out here at midfield and only inches to go, if it's not a first down, the odds are that Coach Pete Fredenberg will go for this on 4th down. So you could challenge it, get the call reversed, and still end up giving away the first down.
As we take another look, the line to get is the 49. That's the magic number for the first down. The right leg prior to that spin, it's coming up right here. Keep an eye on the right foot right there. And it clearly looks like it's at the 48, which would be a full yard shy of where they need to be.
Well, if it's a full yard, as it appears to be on the screen, Sean, then it would be worth Coach Bullis's challenge. Still going to put the onus back on Coach Pete Fredenberg as to what to do. I'm going to bet on the fact that time of possession being so critical in this game, and with a power running back like that, that he's going to go for it on 4th down and trust his defense if it doesn't work out.
I know all week we were looking at these two teams and the eye-popping numbers. You have an offense scoring 57 a game. You have a defense in UW-Whitewater allowing single digits. What gives in a game like this? And after the first 9-10 minutes, really no surprises with either team, both trying to establish that ground game.
Well, you're exactly right, Sean. Something's got to crack here. Both are teams that score in excess of 45 points a game. They give up less than 10 a game. If it stays that way, we might take us 8 or 9 overtimes to settle it. But I don't think it will. At a certain point, one of these teams is going to be able to exert its will along the line of scrimmage.
They have reached a decision. Let's listen in.
After further review, the runner was short of the first down. The ball will be placed at the 48-yard line. Will be 1 yard to gain. Please reset the clock for 5:03.
All right.
5:03.
So if you're Mary-Hardin Baylor, do you play the field position game early, or do you roll the die with the nation's highest scoring offense?
Well, that's the question that goes through the coaches' minds every time one of these come up. In the first quarter here, Sean, okay, I would play the field position game with the punter that Mary-Hardin Baylor has.
And that appears to be the case. A late shift by Whitewater to react, but they have sent out the senior punter, Iankoff. So he will punt for the second time in this first quarter. Both defenses standing tall early.
As even as many of the matchups are. This is an area where Mary-Hardin Baylor does have an advantage, and they're looking to take advantage of that.
Kick is away. Line drive kick, booming inside the 5 and into the end zone for the touchback. So Iankoff unable to pin the Warhawks deep. Series number 3 for UW-Whitewater in a scoreless tie. Have to go all the way back to 2004 for the last time a team not named Whitewater, Mount Union, or Mary-Hardin Baylor won a Division III national championship. You look at that run of dominance by the Warhawks, which began in 07. They had the 3 consecutive titles in 09, 10, and 11. Trying to get back into that national championship game. On first down, Wilbur has the pocket collapse, and so does he. Sack back at the 18-yard line.
Well, that's the second time in the game that Wilbur has had guys open initially in the pocket. Pocket production, passing the ball, Sean, is all about timing and rhythm. Make a decision, get the ball out of your hands, get it to somebody to make a play. He simply held the ball too long there. He had a receiver open on the seam. You got to throw it and let these guys make a play.
Shepard and Johnson will tag team and get the game's first sack for the Crusader defense. Second down and 12. Wilbur spreads out the offense, takes the snap with 5 on the play clock. He'll stretch it out wide to Ronnie Ponick. Here's that other part of that dynamic running duo. Ponick is the hard-nosed back. He was a tremendous high school wrestler, actually started his collegiate career wrestling for Augsburg, which is a power. He comes right at you.
Well, he certainly did on that one. He threw his haymaker on that, knocked the tackler down, and got an initial 2 to 3 yards that creates a very makeable third down for the Warhawks.
Confusion offensively. You saw Wilbur have to go over toward the sideline. He's going to have to hustle up. Play clock to 2, play clock to 1, and he just did get the snap off with the carry, Ponick, and he has nowhere to go. The crew shuts the door hard. Isaiah Johnson, one of the first ones blowing it up, along with D. Jackson.
Johnson is the anchor of the defensive line. He's by far the biggest. He's a lot to handle. He came off the ball as if he was an offensive lineman, knocked the blocker back, created distortion in the running pattern for the back. He's a hard guy to handle, and he has been so far on every inside run that Whitewater has attempted.
These 2 down tackles for Mary-Hardin Baylor are pretty special when you look at Joey Longoria and then the transfer Isaiah Johnson from Northeast Oklahoma A&M. 2 big athletic bodies. Third punt of the day for Lahasic. Shallow kick. And again, both return men dangerously close to that football as it comes to rest at the 37-yard line with a little more than 2 minutes to go and a scoreless first quarter between these 2 perennial powers.
The hidden yardage that affects field position that's so critical in a game like this comes a lot on punt and punt returns. So far, there's a slight advantage to Mary-Hardin Baylor in terms of yardage, but the advantage to UW-Whitewater is that these dynamic return men have not really been able to get started.
Neither quarterback really able to get going either. Jace Hammock just 2 for 3 in the 9 yards. Let's see if he cranks it up for this high-scoring offense that has put up a lot of points this year, close to 58 per game. They run that jet sweep pass to K.J. Miller, turns the corner, puts on the brakes, cuts up ahead, and a gain of 9 on first down.
Miller's got tremendous initial speed and acceleration. They featured him all year long on these jet sweeps. He's been very effective. He certainly was on that one. The middle linebacker, Anderson, was able to get out there, tried an ankle tackle on him. Just too much speed and quickness on Miller's part.
That goes down as receiving yards for Miller with that little flip on the jet sweep motion. tight end Russell switches to the right side. 2nd down and 2. Miller gets the call, and not much. Bryce Lashinsky timed it that time from his inside linebacker position, setting up 3rd and a yard. The early numbers and the advantage has been with the defense. Harry Henschler and company. The Gagliardi Trophy semifinalists. It's the Heisman equivalent at Division III. Getting ready to crank it up. 3rd and less than a yard as we hit inside a minute to go. And a 1st down carry for Miller, just enough. Tried to reverse direction and nearly ran backwards, but forward progress will get him up to the 49. Tranel and O'Gorman in on the tackle.
Well, we've talked about the primary tools that Miller has a runner. First one being power. He knew on that play all that was needed was power. It wasn't elusiveness. Put his pads down, knocked it across the line.
A little bit of a different twist offensively with the quarterback. It's Denarian Thomas. They use him as a wildcat. He is an exceptional athlete. So it will be Thomas to take the snap in the shotgun. Fresh set of downs for the Crusaders. Whitewater shows blitz off the edge. They go with that read play as he hands it to Miller. Trying to spin out of the pile, not much. He gets 3.
Well, this is true option football. When they make this change at quarterback and Thomas is the quarterback, he's either going to hand the ball off or run with the ball. At the very most, passing game-wise, it'll be one of those RPOs. Whitewater recognized that. They brought both outside linebackers off the slots to create a 6-man front.
So you wonder, coming into this semifinal game, what would stand out? You had 2 dynamite offenses, 2 stubborn defenses, and so far, after the opening 15, it's been the D setting the tone. We're scoreless from Belton. No score as we get set to begin quarter number 2 in this Division III semifinal from Belton, Texas. Mary-Hardin Baylor with a busy 24-hour stretch, especially for that young man, TJ Josie, as he went through commencement exercises yesterday. He graduated here at the mid-semester. Both he and his teammate Jalen Martin both picking up their degrees. On 2nd down, here's a TFL blown up, and there's Mr. Henschler for the first time, the outstanding defensive end, wreaking havoc.
Well, I'm sure Henschler is an equally outstanding student as to those other young guys, but he's really got his master's degree in football. He smells things out. It's like there's a magnet in the football that he's attracted to. Terrific play by Henschler, getting penetration on the reverse. Puts Mary-Hardin Baylor in a difficult 3rd down situation now. Thomas remains at quarterback, Sean, which really limits their options here offensively.
Henschler led the nation last year in TFLs, right near the top again this season, and he has a big one to start this 2nd quarter, and the Warhawks are going to use a timeout.
Well, the Warhawks noticed late that Thomas was the quarterback, not Hammock. They had their nickel team out there. That's a smaller lineup designed to play pass. They needed to make the substitution.
A lot of purple inside Crusader Stadium here this afternoon. Wisconsin-Whitewater with their traditional purple and white, the purple and yellow of Mary-Hardin Baylor. 3rd down coming up, 3rd and 14 after the tackle for loss by Henschler, and Hammock back in the game to man the controls at quarterback. The Warhawks rush 4. Hammock steps up, fires into the seam, and it's caught. Hauled in by Miller, and a 1st down grab to the 35-yard line, a pickup of 18. Herbs with the tackle.
Well, the chess game played itself out there after the timeout. Coach Fredenberg put his passer back in the game after the Warhawks had substituted their base defense back in there. Smart gamesmanship.
Hammock threw that one with some confidence. He comes out high. This one a bit offline, but making the midair adjustment was Miller as he had to angle up high to snatch it, tipped it to himself. Terrific athletic play made.
And a nice job by Josie, the wide receiver, who got a block on the corner and allowed Miller to make the cut to turn that into a positive play.
Back-to-back completions for Hammock, who grew up in nearby Andrews, Texas. Abilene Christian. Look at that hole explosion by Miller. No wasted movement. He'll move the chains. The deepest penetration of the day for Mary-Hardin Baylor.
There's not going to be much diversity in the Mary-Hardin Baylor running game. We'll get a few of those jet sweeps with a little flip to the wide receiver coming across, but their running game is about 90% in the guard tackle gap, the center guard gap to either side. It is strictly a straight ahead inside running game.
Crusaders sniffing at that red zone. It is Miller bouncing off a tackle to the 15. Finally brought down by Henschler, but not before he picks up double-digit yards, a run of 11. And Mary-Hardin Baylor really for the first time with some rhythm offensively.
Yeah, not to correct you, Sean, but showing the strength that he has in his lower body, Miller actually never did go down to the ground.
He didn't, did he?
He looked like the rugby ball in the middle of a scrum. Now this area in the red zone, Mary-Hardin Baylor has been a terrific red zone team. But with the running game the way it's going, good thing to do right now is stay with what got you down here in the red zone.
They usually get 6 when they get inside the red zone too. First down at the 13-yard line. It's a fake. Hammock's going to keep it, and he will be driven back at the 6. A flag flies in the vicinity of a hold as Breinig came in with the tackle. Been a pretty well-played football game so far in this first half, but I think it's going to be 10 yards marched off against Mary-Hardin Baylor here.
Well, there's some more of that hidden yardage that was discussed earlier. This won't show up in total offense or total defense statistics, but it's just moving the ball 10 yards further away from the goal line.
Offense, number 76, 10-yard penalty in the previous spot. Repeat the down.
These defenses, as they have shown here today, are making it very difficult to move the ball forward. And when an offense on their own moves it backwards, they just double the challenge of the upcoming down.
We saw the holding call on the very first drive by Wisconsin-Whitewater stall a potential impressive drive, and now the holding call on Carter has them behind the chains. Thomas back in at quarterback on the read. It's a real late handoff and nowhere to go for Markeith Miller. Gang pile by a swarm of Warhawks.
Indecisive by Thomas as to whether to hand the ball off to Miller or keep it. Miller's game is based on exploding at the line of scrimmage. When he has to just stand there and wait to see whether he's got the ball or not, that takes away one of his strongest elements.
You see the eyes of Thomas, Al. What's he looking at as he makes that decision?
Well, clearly he didn't see enough to make a decision. Just as a passer in the pocket has to make a quick decision and get the ball out of there on rhythm, so does an option-level quarterback as Thomas is being used.
He was a quarterback at Mart High School, and he's going to throw, whips it near side, plenty of space for Josie, makes the catch, and he'll drive ahead, setting up a 3rd down and 2. Lashinsky and Famous Hasty both in on the stop, but a big cushion given to TJ Josie.
Well, Josie did a really nice job of pushing hard off the line of scrimmage. He drove Hasty back. Hasty really sank soft to try to defend against a vertical pass. That left the receiver wide open, and Thomas delivered with a real good throw.
Josie has been their main guy through the air the past couple of years. 3rd down, a long 2. Thomas from the gun. He will keep it, try to shake to the outside. He has speed, dives, goes high into the air. Touchdown! Catapulting his way to 6.
Thomas showed on that play the value of making that quick decision. He held the ball out there for Miller to take it. He decided to pull it back, and then he took off. So 2 things showed up on that play: decisiveness by the quarterback and the speed of Mary-Hardin Baylor, which is certainly the most speed that the UW-Whitewater Warhawks have seen all year.
An impressive 12-play, 62-yard drive, and let's not forget the throw by Jace Hammock on 3rd and long to keep the drive alive. Both quarterbacks contributing as Pete Fredenberg rolled the right die on that series. Snap down, kick on the way by Avila is up and through. How about some midair acrobatics provided by the senior Denarian Thomas? High up into the air. Mary-Hardin Baylor, something to celebrate about. Denarian Thomas played quarterback at Mart High School. He set Central Texas all-time rushing records during his time there. Was eventually broken later on by Trahan Smith. But he has 6, and he has the opening salvo in this Division III semifinal. Thomas and Hammock, the 2 quarterbacks, each producing on that drive, and the first curveball given to this defense for Wisconsin-Whitewater.
Thomas only had 59 runs and 27 passes coming into this game. Coach Fredenberg wisely is using all the clubs in his bag to hit whatever shots need to be hit at that particular time. Thomas has shown he has to be treated as a dual threat, but most particularly, the adjustment to this player in the game is going to be critical to Whitewater's play and defense.
High, short kick, and it goes out of bounds, and it will be good starting position for UW-Whitewater.
Sean, as I just mentioned, in-game adjustments are going to be critical in this game, not just at halftime, not even just in between series, but in between plays, and they have to adjust quickly to that, and one of the ways to do it when Thomas is in the game is to bring more perimeter pressure to narrow the edge of the field.
ESPN's NCAA coverage continues on Friday with the Division III championship on ESPNU at 7. For more information, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. It's go time for the Warhawk offense for their first 3 possessions, 1 first down, 45 yards of offense. That's it. Can Wilbur get the troops fired up? And we have a whistle and a stoppage. Not quite sure what this delay is about as the official comes over toward the near side. So as they discuss some options, looks like possibly a microphone issue.
That's a shame that we won't be able to hear from the officials.
I figured you would be heartbroken out. So he's ready to go. Cole Wilbur, the senior.
Place 10 minutes, 33 seconds on the game clock.
So they'll add a second to the game clock. Wilbur, the senior from Dana Hills High School in California. 3-year starter for this offense. And you know, we asked Coach Bolus yesterday, where's he made the most progression from last year? And he said, quite frankly, it was his pocket presence and his leadership ability. Those were 2 of the areas that he has grown a lot. Had some indecisiveness at times last year, especially early in the season when Whitewater struggled to a 1-3 start, but he has looked good all season, including last week's win against Bethel, 26-12. They're trying to get that ground game going with Ponick just his second carry in this first half, and Panik wills his way up to the 39.
Well, that was another RPO. Now, the decisions on RPOs, Sean, are based on two things. The number of defenders in the so-called box. What is the box? The box is the area basically from the outside shoulder of the offensive tackle all the way over to the other offensive tackle. And then simply, as far as shooting the ball out to a wide receiver, is there enough space to catch and run with it?
Julio Perez is the H-back. They tried to run that direction. Panik busts free from one tackle, then he is hit hard. No wrapping up, though, by the defense. That was Joey Longoria, number 57. He lowered the shoulder pads, but he never wrapped up, and you got to wrap up a guy like Panik.
Terrific balance, probably hearkening back to his wrestling days. Physical toughness and effort on his part to turn what was really about a 4-yard loss into a 2-yard gain. Whitewater is really struggling on offense right now, particularly with their running game. A first down here to allow their defense time to regroup is very important.
4 receivers set on 3rd down and 3. They're going to hand it off. Panik with a block off the edge, and he'll pick up the first down. Excellent downfield block by the receiver Kumaro, and something to build on if you're the Warhawks.
Well, the Warhawks now have the best field position that they've had. They're going to have to loosen this defense up with some play action passing. It's much easier for a quarterback who's not in rhythm to throw the ball on 1st or 2nd down out of play action, because those particular downs usually get less sophisticated and tricky coverages than you do on 3rd down.
See if Wilbur puts the football up. Nope, they're going to stay with the ground game. And here is Pete, and he lost the football. It was stripped, and one of the more opportunistic defenses jumps on top of it. Raylan Hickey with the recovery.
Boy, one of the things all running backs playing against the Crusaders have to be warned against is this team has an unbelievable 29 fumbles caused this year. You know, going into the game, if you're a running back for an opponent against the Crew, your #1 goal has got to be don't fumble the ball, and he just did that on what really wasn't that heavy a contact play. But the way the Crew swarm the pile, they've always got somebody there to get it.
Joey Longoria, who just found out earlier this morning he's a nominee for the Cliff Harris Award given to the best defensive lineman in small college football. He had the strip, Hickey the recovery, and Mary-Hardin Baylor back in business in good starting position.
And besides the field position, that takes some time of possession. If you don't have the ball, you can't score. And that's one of the ways to keep a high-scoring offense down. And the time of possession clearly favors the Crusaders to this point.
By the way, that takeaway, the 42nd of the year for the Crusader D. Miller, 2 hard yards up to the 47, and this will set up a 3rd down.
Even though the Crusaders are operating out of a spread, no huddle offense, this is not a fast-paced offense. They recognize the value of time of possession in this game. They're taking full advantage of the play clock on almost every down.
What do you like here, 3rd down and 4, especially this portion of the field?
I would like a sprint out pass on the part of Hammock to get him away from the pressure that's been so important to the 3rd down defense. Let him throw the ball on the run.
The 2 speedsters are right with Miller and Sims. Josie, the reliable hands at the bottom of the screen. They are going to throw the football on the slant. There is Miller on cue, making the catch. Check that. That's Janelle Reed with the grab up to the 32. It's a 3rd down conversion, a strike of 19.
Exactly the same pass that Hammock hit on the previous drive. He had Miller lined up to the right. He faked the handoff, and Eby, who's an excellent slot defender as an outside linebacker for Whitewater, played the fake and knocked it down in distance. On that down, 3rd down, he should have disregarded the fake and played the receiver.
Second catch of the day by Reed, who was described as having a great knowledge of this offensive system. Look at that change of direction by Miller, avoiding torpedoes, falls ahead to the 29, Lashinsky, who's been active in on the stop.
For all of Miller's toughness, he really has a nice sense of how to run these zone runs. They're really the only runs that the Crusaders run, so he's got a lot of repetition at it, and part of that combination of running it is patience to the hole and then burst through the hole. He gives those zone blockers an opportunity to push the defenders whichever way they can move them, and then he accelerates.
Using all of the play clock inside 5 seconds. Hammock will take the snap, wanted to get rid of it quickly, floats right, still looking downfield, could run if he wants to, and finally he takes off. Dalton Heckel chased him out of bounds, but boy, Hammock really could have taken off about 2 or 3 seconds earlier.
That's right. Well, not only does this early down play action simplify coverages for the quarterback to read, but it also minimizes pass rush. As those defenders play the run blocks that they see, we can see on that play no pressure on the pocket whatsoever.
Hammock stepped out of bounds around the 22, so they will stop the action for a measurement. Jace Hammock and transfer Luke Poorman both battled it out during the summer and fall camp for the starting nod at quarterback. This was an offense last year led by Carl Robinson III, and it was an offense that struggled at times last year, in particular the championship game, as they finished with just the 144 yards of total offense. But Hammock has brought some stability this year and some experience from his days with Abilene Christian, was frustrated by playing time, wanted to make an immediate impact, found a home here in Belton, and both parties have been happy, and you see his accuracy in this first half. First down from the 22-yard line. Miller is hit and dropped in his tracks. Hello, Matt Anderson.
Anderson and Lashinsky are two terrific inside linebackers for the Warhawks. They've got quickness, they're physical, they're downhill players. That was an excellent player on a guy with powerful legs. He got away from that upper body or upper leg power, went right down at the knees, lassoed him, dropped him in his tracks.
Anderson has had a breakout season in his junior campaign, just 22 tackles a season ago, but boy, has he stepped in. They run that jet sweep pass again, third time they went with it to Miller. And really, for the third time, it's defended well. Lashinsky, the other inside linebacker, another stop. He has 8 tackles already in this first half.
Well, the important thing here on 3rd and long against a good pass rushing team is to safeguard the potential field goal. That doesn't mean you don't want to score a touchdown or make a first down, but your quarterback has to be schooled at this point of the season, the 14th game of the season, to know what you want done. We're going to take a shot for it, but we're not going to be foolish, and we are not going to take a sack to extend the distance for a potential field goal.
Mary-Hardin Baylor has been golded on 3rd downs, 5 of 7. Here comes the delayed blitz. They set up the screen to Miller. Change of direction, burst inside the 15, down to the 13-yard line, about 1.5 yards shy of the first down. Justin Hansen trailing the play, able to stay home.
Well, that was a very wise call in that particular case by offensive coordinator Stephen Lee. That gave them their shot at the first down, protected the ball, and got them even closer to the field goal. And the key to that was the offensive linemen who got out as the blockers. They did a really nice job of clearing running space for Miller.
31-yard field goal from Anthony Avila, who's been a pretty reliable kicker this year, and he drills it. Avila extends the lead for Fredenberg's Crusaders, to the delight of the faithful here in Belton. Ten unanswered points in this second quarter by Mary-Hardin Baylor. They're able to take away the fumble and turn it into 3 on the other end, and the Crusaders with a 10-0 lead over Wisconsin-Whitewater late in this second quarter. A lot of pride around these parts for the program at Mary-Hardin Baylor, around Belton last night in the Temple area. Everybody talking about this semifinal game and the run that the Crusaders have enjoyed, looking for their 3rd straight appearance in the Stag Bowl. And what's extra special this year, it's going to be not too far away, just down the interstate. 3 hours to Shenandoah, Texas, the new home for the Stag Bowl. And Pete Fredenberg, the longtime coach, the only coach this program has known, hoping to get his guys there. But a lot of football. Clearly, though, his team with the momentum late in this first half. They went with these shallow pooch kicks and charging up on the return and getting good field position for Wisconsin-Whitewater will be Justin Prostanak, the junior from Milwaukee.
Avila is not a power kicker. He really doesn't kick the ball to the end zone for touchbacks or right around the goal line to force returns that you could tackle deep in their territory. So they're trying to do some creative things with their kickoff game, popping the ball up real high so it's up in the air a long time for the coverage guys to have a chance to get down the field. Smart thinking on their part.
Very important drive for Whitewater late in this first half. Wilbur, a deep drop on the crossing pattern. He has his man. That's Jeremy Richards. Richards will get 11 yards up near midfield, corralled by Gibson.
Those soft pattern, those crossing routes against these deep drop zone linebackers for Mary-Hardin Baylor are a good strategy for UW-Whitewater.
Richardson wanted to be involved with a winning tradition. He wanted to play for a championship. Transferred in during his sophomore year from UW-Platteville and has contributed. That's his 15th reception of the year. This is the part of the field where Whitewater lost it on a fumble on their last series, and confusion and frustration from the Warhawks, and they're going to have to burn their second timeout.
Second, first half.
We'll take a break. 2:57 to go, second quarter. Bolus and the Warhawks down 10. The Wisconsin-Whitewater offense used that last time out, but what you're looking at is that defense in a pretty engaging conversation as they try to figure out a way to slow down Mary-Hardin Baylor in particular in this second quarter.
They've got some issues on defense, particularly that seam pass up the right side. That's why it's so important that this offense keeps the ball for a little bit, makes some first downs, so the defensive coaches have time to do their work.
Yeah, they've been on the field a lot. Pete trying to get to the outside is cut down low. Open field tackle by Hickey, who's been all over the board in this first half.
Oh boy, what a good tackle that was. That was the shoulder tackle that's become so popular. He went down right around the knees, used his right shoulder on the runner, cut his legs right out from underneath him.
Textbook stop for the senior from Giddings. Spent hours in the offseason with defensive coordinator Larry Harmon evaluating his game, watching film. Second down on the delay. Pete again scooting toward that boundary side. Pursuit by Gibson, the cornerback, setting up a third down.
Wow, that was a draw play up the middle. It was designed to go up the middle. There was nothing there. Pete had the speed to take it to the outside, but it took so long to get out there that the pursuit was able to come off blocks.
This crowd making some noise on third down. A Whitewater offensive line that just dominated throughout the course of the regular season, having some trouble today.
They can expect that same two-deep zone that has been so effective.
The Crusaders bring four. They get to Wilbur. Down he goes. Longoria with the sack back at midfield.
Well, both Longoria and Kevon Shepard burst off the ball. They look like sprinters coming out of the blocks on that one. They knew what to anticipate. They watched the ball. They got great takeoff. They collapsed the pocket immediately.
8th sack of the year by Joey Longoria. He's been in on a handful today, wrapping up Cole Wilbur. And again, this defensive front four of Shepard, Johnson, Longoria, and Cross really inflicting their will against this offensive line.
This is not a trick-em defense whatsoever. Okay, this is defense built on repetition, athletic ability, the skill to beat blocks, and real effort to get to the ball. It's the same front on most plays, the same coverage on all third down plays. It's coming straight at you, and with the mentality is we're just going to play better than you can block us.
Mary-Hardin Baylor using a timeout wisely. They want the football at least one more time with 1:35 to go in this first half, and they'll have 2 timeouts remaining.
Throughout the game from this point on, what the coaches in the press box for UW-Whitewater must do is keep their eyes at all times on number 12, Denarian Thomas, the change of pace quarterback. Surely they're going to call defenses differently when he's in the game. They can't let him get in the game without recognizing it immediately.
Been a busy first half for Lahasic on the punt for the 4th time. Dangerous return men await. Lahasic poised, sends an end over end line drive kick. This will be Sims, who started his career on the sprint team at Texas A&M, and he's using some of that SEC speed, tight roping down the near side. See you later. 93 yards, touchdown.
Oh, was that fun? With this kid running the ball, you're not going to see too many 90-yard punt returns that happen faster than that. Great burst of speed to go from the right side of the field all the way across to the left. And then he was like a ballet dancer going down the sideline, staying in bounds. Mary-Hardin Baylor is utilizing their formula that they used to win 13 games this year, amongst them causing fumbles and recovering them and getting touchdowns on punt returns.
Al, you have been around this game a long time. Can you recall a team that has returned 8 punts for touchdown in the same season? Just an incredible number.
Never heard of anything like that. And what a weapon, what a way to add points to your team total.
Aaron Sims with his 5th punt return for 6. Point after hit the upright, but there is a flag down.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 56. 5-yard penalty, repeat the try.
Well, that's a break for
Well, you aren't kidding.
Mary-Hardin Baylor. That's when you can profit from your mistake. So they lost the point, and now they get a chance to get the point back. After this kick, we'll get back to that punt return.
Point after up and through, and Mary-Hardin Baylor with a statement in this second quarter. The offense able to crank some juice, and now the return game, which has been dynamite all year with the speedster Sims.
Well, part of that was Sims got exactly the kind of punt that you can return, a low line drive. We saw how he caught it in a non-conventional punt catching style just because of the type of kick that it was, which allowed him to get a head start to bring the ball all the way across the field before the coverage could ever get down the field. He had open field to run in from the start.
You saw the fun with Aaron Sims. He was imitating as if he was in a track block back in his days in College Station. He ran track for Texas A&M. Was a 100-meter specialist in the SEC, and he showed that speed. Always loved football. In fact, coming out of high school, Cameron High School, which is a heavily recruited area for Mary-Hardin Baylor, he thought long and hard about going the football route. Instead, decided to go in the blocks. And he showed some of that track speed on that 90-plus return. And the celebration for Mary-Hardin Baylor as they lead 17-0 late in this first half.
Well, the benefit, too, for the Crusaders is as fast as he is, there are not very many 135-pound punt returners in the SEC, but they welcomed him with open arms here, and they're loving the fact that he's returning punts for them.
Kevin Bolus told us yesterday, whoever emerges from this game will handle adversity better. Right now, it's his Warhawks who are going to have to deal with it late in this first half, down 17. And just the one timeout to work with. Remember, they had to use a couple of timeouts early in the first half, so 68 seconds, down 17, an offense that has really sputtered in the first half. How aggressive do you play in here?
Well, possessions now are going to, every possession is going to be very important with a 17-point deficit. They can't afford to forfeit a possession here. They need to try to get something out of this. A good way to go based on the ferocity of the pass rush that the Crusaders have put together, particularly that last sack, is to open this with a screen.
Offense that averaged 43 per game has not been shut out once this year. Throw over the middle and a dangerous one, getting his hands on it, was Santos Villarreal, the Sam linebacker, and he nearly had a pick.
Well, he certainly did. He had the receiver well walled off. That was too small of a window at this point in the game for the quarterback to try to force the ball in there. You do want points in this particular circumstance, but the most important thing is while Mary-Hardin Baylor's got 17, let's make sure they don't have any more than that to start the second half.
Second down give is to Alex Pete. Pete will pick up 8 yards. See if Whitewater uses a timeout, or maybe it will be Mary-Hardin Baylor with 52 seconds to go. Neither one stopping the clock as it continues to count down inside 50 seconds to go.
Well, after a brief rest, here comes Longoria back in the game. We know what that means for the interior of the Warhawk offensive line.
It's been a dominant first half by Longoria and Isaiah Johnson, the 2 interior tackles. They bring in extra beef, Josh Gallegos, Pete Smith, anticipating a short yardage situation and hit in the backfield. Raylan Hickey finding a way, slithering in from his safety position, and now the Crusaders will use a timeout.
There are 3 areas, not the only 3, but there are 3 areas where a team establishes its toughness and its preparation. The ability to run the ball, which Mary-Hardin Baylor has done a nice job of. The ability to stop the run, which they clearly showed how well they've been doing that on that last play, and on special teams where they've had a decided advantage. This team is putting all the components together to make themselves extremely hard to beat.
It's a lightning quick defense. That secondary, which is on record pace this year, 29 interceptions. They're the top pass defense in the country, but in this first half, these safeties and these corners have showed the ability to lend support to that ground game and stopping the rushing attack for Wisconsin-Whitewater.
Well, it's all about recognition and quick reaction to what they see, and as we discussed earlier, they run just a very few defenses, so these players by this time of the year have had thousands of repetitions of their reads, their reactions, and their run fits, and they're really doing a nice job with it.
Coming up on our halftime report, we'll take a look at tonight's Heisman race and what inspires the Alabama quarterback and what keeps him going each and every year. A terrific story all the way from Hawaii. Plus, we'll have first half stats and highlights. It's all coming up at the break. Line drive, returnable kick. This time it's Miller's turn. A flag flies as well. So Miller will survey, cut toward the wide side, follow that same path that we saw Sims go along this near sideline as he steps out of bounds, and let's wait and see what the penalty is. Clock showing triple zeros.
Sean, certainly with a returner like Sims, most coaches would say to their punter, don't punt the ball to Sims. But Mary-Hardin Baylor wisely has 2 return men deep, Miller and Sims. Pretty hard to kick it away from both of them. We saw the benefit of it on that play.
On the return, illegal block in the back on the kicking team. 15 yards. You spotted the foul, first down.
You've been in football games where it just seems like you can't catch a break, and that is the way it's going right now for Whitewater.
Yeah, I don't quite get that one. We got a block in the back by the kicking team.
I don't think the Warhawks have it figured out as well, as you can take a look at some of their faces reacting to that penalty. It happened really early on, before Miller even touched the football on the return, so the officials will sort it out.
The little bit I caught of it, Sean, it looked like a punt cover man simply pushing.
Illegal block in the back, 10 yards.
Simply pushing one of the Crusaders out of his way, as he knew he better get down the field on these 2 return men.
So with the penalty, that means we get one untimed down. We're still sorting out where the penalty happened and where Mary-Hardin Baylor will have it for their one shot to launch the football deep. It's been a difficult week for Pete Fredenberg, the head coach.
Penalty enforcement. Illegal block in the back. 10 yards from the end of the run. We'll have one untimed down.
But going back to Fredenberg, his daughter Corey had a successful kidney transplant on Wednesday. He was with the family in San Antonio for that procedure. We're happy to report that Corey is recovering comfortably. She's had 8 surgeries over the past 3 years, so he was balancing family with trying to prepare his team for football. His longtime D coordinator Larry Harmon helped out when the coach was in San Antonio with his daughter and family, and certainly our thoughts with Corey and the Fredenberg family.
Well, we take our football pretty seriously, but there are more important things in life than just football, and he certainly has had all those in his life this week.
Jace Hammock loosening up that right arm. He's about to test it. So he takes the field from the 40-yard line. They'll stack 3 receivers right, 1 left. They settle underneath on the drag, try to get some space for Sims, looking for any type of crevice, and he is brought down at the 35. And here comes another flag, so let's hold the boats. Wait and see what this penalty's all about. Back at the 40-yard line. Well, this would be disastrous if it's on UW-Whitewater.
Illegal block in the back. Offense number 10. That penalty is declined. That is the end of the first half.
It's not, and it's regroup time for Bolus and the Warhawks. First time all season long that Wisconsin-Whitewater was kept off the board. But there's plenty of firepower to get back in this football game, and they're going to have to do it on the road if they have aspirations of getting back to the Stag Bowl. A dominant defense, a high-flying offense, 17 unanswered. Crusaders with the lead at the break. Mary-Hardin Baylor trying to get back to the Stag Bowl for the 3rd straight year. Wisconsin-Whitewater trying to get back for the first time since 2014. Their 6th national championship that particular year. They have some work to do, down 17 at the break. Sean Kinney, again, alongside Coach Al Groh. Great to have you with us. And Al, I've worked with you a number of years. You always talk special teams and 3rd down defense. Well, Mary-Hardin Baylor's 2 for 2 in those categories.
Well, they certainly are. They got the punt return, but they also got a lot of good field position on other exchange of punts or kickoffs. Okay, and then on 3rd down, they've been dominant in that area. They're getting this Whitewater offense off the field where they can't score any points. The formula is really working for them. They're in control, not only on the scoreboard right now, but they're in control on the field.
The 3rd down woes have continued for the 2nd straight week for Wisconsin-Whitewater. 4 of 14 last week, just 2 of 7 in the first half. And this defensive line led by Longoria and company, creating the early turnover, the recovery by Hickey, and then this defense just swarming the entire first half.
The 4-man pass rush of the Crusaders mandates that the quarterback get the ball out of his hands and throw it quickly. He's been holding the ball too long.
The Warhawk defense was up for the challenge in the first 15 minutes. They were tough, but then all of a sudden, here comes Mary-Hardin Baylor, and it was the change to that Wildcat quarterback and Denarian Thomas that opened it up a little bit.
Very slick move by Coach Fredenberg, using all the talent on his team. Here's speed for 1 touchdown by the quarterback Thomas, and speed for another touchdown by Sims. They're clearly the faster team on the field, and they're taking advantage of that.
93 yards on the return by Sims. 17 unanswered for the Crusaders. They lead On a windy day in Texas, the winner into Friday night's Stag Bowl. Welcome back to the semifinals of the NCAA Division III Championship. Start of the third quarter, Mary-Hardin Baylor pitching the shutout. First time the Warhawks have been shut out in a half of football. They trail 17-0. Look who is waiting. The Raiders of Mount Union. They picked up a 28-20 win over Johns Hopkins earlier today. Mount Union with 13 national championships. That leads the pack. UW-Whitewater with 6. They have some work to do here in Belton. First half numbers, and again the storyline was that Crusader defense holding UW-Whitewater well below their season average. Just 88 yards of offense. They've struggled on third downs. They have the one takeaway that resulted in the Avila field goal. Third down conversions also critical for Mary-Hardin Baylor in that first half. It will be Crusader football as we start quarter number 3. Again at stake, a berth in Friday night's Stag Bowl in nearby Shenandoah. On the return, Sims takes it out past the 30 up to the 32-yard line. So good starting position for this offense that seemed to hit its stride in the second quarter.
Yes, another low kick, would be it a punt or a kickoff with very little hang time. Doesn't give the UW-Whitewater coverage guys much time to get down the field. As a result, nice return, good field position to start a drive.
Very effective first half throwing for Jace Hammock in his first playoff game. 9 of 10 for 98 yards, was sacked only once. The Crusaders from the 32. He is going to hand it off to Miller, and there is nowhere to go. Bottled up at the line of scrimmage. A handful of defenders. Dalton Heckel in the center, along with Tommy Matsuka, the backup corner, second down.
A couple of new things in this game for the Crusaders. One, obviously, the use of Thomas at quarterback, but also they're going quite a bit to this 4 wide receiver grouping on the field with a double stack to each side, very wide, which stretches the Whitewater defenders out, creates only a 5-man box with a middle linebacker.
The middle backer is Lashinsky on the second down play, looking to go deep, nothing there. Hammock chased, he's down, sacked again by Henschler. Second time that the senior has been able to crack through.
Well, when you play against UW-Whitewater and Henschler's out at that defensive end position, if you're a quarterback, you know early in the week that regardless of what it looks like downfield, don't stay in one place. Throw the ball, even if it's out of bounds, or take off. He did neither on that play. Now it's 3rd and 11, and Henschler, you know he's ready to go again on this play.
He was an All-American last year with 14.5 sacks. He has 2 sacks in this semifinal game. 3rd down and 11. Hammock on a play fake, looking over the middle, nothing there. Now throws on the run, incomplete. Jacob Erbs put the heat on, and that's the type of start the Warhawks were hoping for as they try to fire up the faithful who have made the long journey south.
Well, you're right, Sean. That got them the ball back very quickly. Only 95 seconds run off to start this third quarter. They're going to need possessions in this half, and they're going to have to try to do some quick scoring against the defense that denies that very thing.
High, shallow kick. Fair catch signaled for by Ringelberg. And an offense that sputtered, quite frankly, in the first half. We'll find out what adjustments they've made as they try to figure out this quick and speedy defense from Mary-Hardin Baylor.
Well, here's the elements that we have working here in the second half. Passing the ball, particularly deep passing, is not UW-Whitewater's main suit. So they're going to have to kind of play the game with their left hand rather than their main hand. A 4-man rush, which has been formidable in this game, and deep zone coverage designed to prevent big plays is what they're going against with that passing game.
On first down, they give it to Ronnie Ponick over the right side, trying to follow the guard and tackle Barrett and Gannon. He falls ahead for 4.
Nothing tricky about that one. They do have a little bit of a size advantage out on the edge. Ponick once again blasted it up inside, swung it out to the outside. The pace is picking up significantly.
72 rushing yards today for Whitewater. Down the sideline, Kumaro makes the catch, stays on his feet, and steps out at the 38-yard line.
Yeah, nice design. Base obviously talked about at halftime against this 2-deep coverage. They released the receiver up the sideline and ran an inside receiver in the flat. The corner jumped at the inside receiver in a 2-deep. He's got to sync with the outside guy. That created a nice hole.
First down, this is Ponick getting to the outside following a Kumaro block, and he'll pick up close to 10 yards. Escorted out by a wave of yellow, and 3 impressive plays by Wisconsin-Whitewater out of the gates.
Even though Pete has about 100 more carries this season than Ponick, it's clear the decision was made at halftime to start this half with Ponick at the tailback position.
3 receivers left. Kumaro at the bottom of the screen. They're going to run behind his block, and this is Ponick, and a good open field tackle is made.
Well, it wasn't much of a block, and that's because the corner really used his hands and got separation, shucked Kumaro to the inside, really did his job on a perimeter run.
That's Sabian Cannon, the reserve junior defensive back, with the stop. 2nd down and 5. Pocket around Wilbur collapses, so he takes off, shoots right up the gut, and it's first down Wisconsin-Whitewater, and here come the Warhawks.
Well, certainly the tempo, picking up the pace of play has helped the Warhawks, but also Kumaro, the quarterback making quicker decisions, not holding the ball in the pocket, and making himself a target for this pass rush. Warhawks have now brought their fullback Perez in. That usually means a little bit more power running.
Ponick stays in the game on the delay. Penetration. Ponick keeps his balance, falls ahead, surges up near the 5-yard line. He'll be marked down at the 6.
Boy, what a determined runner Ponick is. He's going to challenge the tacklers to get him on the ground. Okay, it's obviously a war between him and anybody who attempts to tackle him.
J.T. Parrish has been one of the main receiving targets this year. He's been quiet. He's split to the top of the screen alongside Richards. Kumaro to the right. They stay with power football up the middle. Lowering the pad leverage is Ponick, and he'll be denied, setting up a 3rd down and goal.
At 5'9", 205, he's a little power pack. He's got a low center of gravity. He's got a lot of lower body strength. He keeps every run going for the maximum amount of yardage.
Do they stuff it one more time, or do they try the play action pass here if you're UW-Whitewater?
Very common play in this circumstance, and a good one for this team is the quarterback zone read play. Defense is probably going to protect that goal line. If they all cave inside, that'll allow the quarterback, Wilbur, to pull the ball and get outside.
It's a 2 tight end look. They're going to throw the ball, air to it, back of the end zone, caught! Touchdown, UW-Whitewater. Bryce Belfi with the catch, his first touchdown of the year.
What a really nice play call. Okay, the play action against a packed-in offensive front, pulled the defense in just as if that zone read would. Wilbur lofted the ball out there. That was smart. He didn't try to rifle it. He laid it out there, let the receiver get comfortable with the ball. And clearly, that breathed a lot of life into Cole Wilbur's game, and he's the guy who's going to have to bring the Warhawks back.
A little more than 3 minutes off the clock. The Warhawks go 66 yards in 8 plays, and the point after by Gashnitsa is good. First touchdown reception of the year by Belfi. It was a steady dose of the ground game. A little bit of a punch from the junior Ronnie Ponick. The quarterback Wilbur able to get involved with his legs, and then the soft touch to the tight end. Little momentum by Wisconsin-Whitewater. Cole Wilbur is a long way from home. He grew up just about 10 minutes away from the ocean out in California, Dana Hills. And an interesting story, Kevin Bolus was describing how he came across Wilbur. Bolus, after winning the national championship back in 2014, they had found out that Leipold was leaving 2 weeks earlier, so Bolus scheduled a staff meeting the day after the national championship game. He gathered the returning staff, which was pretty much graduate assistants, and he told the guys, if you get any emails from outside a 200-mile radius of Whitewater, disregard them. One of the grad assistants brought him an email that Cole Wilbur had sent, a Californian who wanted to be a part of the winning tradition at Whitewater. So he called Danny Jones, who ironically was a California kid, who quarterbacked Whitewater to their first national championship in 2007. All he asked Danny to do was go talk to Cole Wilbur and make sure he knew what he was getting into in playing in the snow and the stark contrast to the weather that Wilbur had enjoyed out in California. Jones reported back saying this guy wants to be a Warhawk, and here we are 3 years later, and he has pushed his team into the semifinal and a chance to guide them back into that Stag Bowl. So now let's see how this defense can respond. They had a quick 3-and-out on the opening series as Jace Hammock gets set to go to work for Mary-Hardin Baylor. From the 25-yard line, two receivers, twin set right. And they will run that jet sweep, and a big hit is put on. That's the inside linebacker, Lashinsky. And Al, it looks like they're playing with a different gear early in this third quarter.
Well, both these teams have the heart of a champion. Developed over a number of years of great success, certainly reinforced this year, and you don't put a champion away in less than 60 minutes.
Lashinsky, the heart and soul of the defense from the linebacker position. Punishing hits, 2nd down and 10 from the 25. They go back to the ground. There is nowhere to go. A sea of white and purple. Again, it's Lashinsky. 3rd and 9. And the tide starting to change a little bit as we wind this Saturday afternoon down in Texas.
One thing that has certainly shown up, the running game of Mary-Hardin Baylor is a very simplistic one. There are only really 2 or 3 plays that they use. Most of them attack in between the guards. Okay, it's a tight area in there, not a lot of space. And the Warhawks are jamming that area up right now.
Anderson and Herbs, the two linebackers, show blitz. They drop off. Now Anderson comes on a delay. Nowhere for Hammock to go, and he throws it away. But there is a flag in the secondary. And let's see if this is a defensive hold. KJ Miller, the wide receiver, pleading his case.
Miller is contending that he was held by the defender on him.
Pass interference. Defense, number 21. We're going past 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic, 1st down.
It's the safety, John Waker, trying to slow down the speed of KJ Miller.
Waker plays the slot corner, often called the nickel corner or the star by certain teams. He comes in on 3rd down. That's a tough assignment for whoever they line up on, Miller and or Sims. When those guys are in the slots, he's trying to minimize the speed. Now that was a pass that was thrown nowhere near Miller, so where there may have been contact, there really was no opportunity for him to catch the ball. However, after
hold it, defense, 10 yards from the previous spot, automatic, 1st down.
So take a look at the slot position, and you see number 21, Waker, just go up and grab and bring down the receiver.
Right, that's what I thought the foul was. Once he did that, it looked like it was a holding foul,
right,
not a pass interference foul.
So the penalty keeps the drive alive for Mary-Hardin Baylor. They fake the jet sweep, little hitch pattern caught. Josie comes back to the ball, covered by famous Hasty.
Exactly the same pattern that was completed in the first quarter along the same sideline. A little play fake inside. Josie pushes the corner off, stops with a hard plant, turns back to the quarterback, and the ball was nicely delivered on timing. Hammock didn't wait to see whether he was open. He just threw it out there.
Pretty high accolades yesterday from Coach Pete Fredenberg when describing TJ Josie. Called him one of the better athletes that have been around Belton, and they've had some good ones come through here throughout the years. Second down, looking for that same play. This time it's a double move, and not biting was Hasty, and he got both hands on the ball, unable to bring in the interception. Tight coverage and not biting on that double move.
Really good eye discipline by Hasty. He didn't bite on the early fake. It wasn't the greatest of fakes. Receiver really didn't get his pads turned as if he was running the previous down's hitch. But in any case, Hasty got back there, almost came up with a critical interception.
Maybe the best name in college football, famous, F-A-M-U-S, trying to be famous for this defense.
Big matchup over here on the right, Hensher against Carter.
Third down, Hammock looking left, pressure comes over the middle, and it's dropped by Tranel. A sure interception went right through the arms, but Mary-Hardin Baylor will be forced to punt.
The Warhawks ran a game over on Hensher's side. He slanted inside, drew the tackle in. They looped the defensive tackle on the guard out to the outside. He had the pressure and forced Hammock to run right. Now, Hammock ran right and threw back into the middle, which, Sean, there's an old Chinese proverb that says, quarterback who run right and throw left, sit on bench.
Rush coming. Charging in, making the barreling catch on the skid was Josh Ringelberg, and UW-Whitewater will have the football in pretty good shape. Crusaders by 10 midway through the third quarter. (17-7), Mary-Hardin Baylor on top on a chilly Saturday in Belton, Texas. But Wisconsin-Whitewater with some momentum on that last drive. They were able to find the end zone for the first time. It was a steady dose of Ronnie Ponick along with the quarterback Wilbur's ability to scramble, all setting up the goal line situation and the easy touchdown toss to the tight end.
The little change of momentum by going with a fast pace has also been beneficial. That's something that was certainly discussed on the Crusader sideline with the defense while the offense was out on the field.
On first down, it's a quick throw out to the flat. Dess makes the catch. They've used Kumaro a lot. He has really done a nice job blocking as a wide receiver, not just on these screens, but also on the outside runs for both Pete and Ponick.
Their wide receivers are considerably bigger than the corners who are out there, and they're taking advantage of that blocking mismatch on those little smoke screens to the wide receiver and just pushing the corners back.
Second down, they keep the foot on the gas with Ponick. He gets to the outside, is met, lost the football, and it looks like it's the Crusaders who jump on it, and they do. Second takeaway of the afternoon by Mary-Hardin Baylor.
Beautiful to watch. If you love good defense and opportunistic play as Mary-Hardin attacks the football and pries it loose for another takeaway, by the same token, disheartening to the UW-Whitewater supporters as they watch the ball being tugged away once again by a defense that every running back should be alerted to the dangers of them going after the ball.
Ball looks like it's clearly out as they take another look upstairs. Raylan Hickey was the first one to deliver the boom, and then it was Trey Villarreal who recovered that football at the bottom of the pile.
All right, there's really, this should be a very short review, which it is, because there's nothing to see there. Terrific defensive play.
Second turnover of the game by UW-Whitewater. Golden position here for the Crusaders, and there goes Miller. into the secondary. 17 yards he rips off up to the 28.
He showed his classic running style on that. A little slide to the right, a little hop step to let the line make their blocks, and then burst through straight up the field. No nonsense, straight for the goal line.
17-yard run, his longest of the day. Quick screen out to KJ Miller, makes the catch. He's pushed out of bounds by Tranel. Gain of 4 yards, 2nd down and 6. Mary-Hardin Baylor trying to get this train back on the tracks after it was Whitewater with the momentum through the first half of this 3rd period.
Yeah, that was all. Play was all about the decision-making of Hammock. He saw Anderson come off the slot as a rusher. He whipped the ball out there for a very positive 6 yards.
2nd down and a long 5. Big hole over the right side for Miller, just pushing forward, trying to follow his tackle, Colton Hall. Anderson drives him down, setting up a 3rd down and short.
Lashinsky is a shoulder pad linebacker. He stepped up in there with that right pad, jammed it into Hall, the blocker pulling around inside. But after that good 1st down completion, they've got it now 3rd down and 2. Advantageous for the Crusaders.
These are the downs where Harry Henschler has been the guy defensively, number 54, and they drop the snap, still loose, and Hammock is forced to eat it back at the 27, and this makes it a little bit more difficult for the field goal kicker, Avila.
Well, besides the yardage lost, yes, Sean, those flags down at that end zone blowing from left to right straight across the field are going to have some effect on this kick.
It's been a swirling wind all day in Texas. And the way it is blowing, as Al mentioned, it's right in the face of the kicker, Avila, and that might be why Pete Fredenberg is keeping the offense out on the field. Might be forced to use a timeout, and they will. So they will call a timeout and make a decision on what to do. Decision time for the Texas Hall of Famer, Pete Fredenberg. Mary-Hardin Baylor has been impeccable here at home. 30-5 in the playoffs. They've won 12 straight. However, one of their more recent playoff losses to the team standing in their way today, all the way from Whitewater back in 2013 in the semis. 4th down and 9. They're going to keep the offense on the field. Tight end Russell lines up as the H-back right. Hammock is going to throw. Pressure comes. Hit as he released, and it's intercepted by Lashinsky, and he has a wall of blockers. Henschler provides the block. Lashinsky to the 10. Stiff arms out of bounds, and the takeaway for the Warhawk D.
Tremendous pass rush. Once again, the Warhawks ran a twist game. Mary-Hardin Baylor has not handled those twist games well at all in this half. Pressure on the quarterback, ill-advised down in that area of the field to throw it like that under pressure.
Wisconsin-Whitewater, there's no penalty for that violation.
The pass rush pressure has been significant in this half as the Warhawks have applied it, and that really changes the balance of this game.
Bolonganai was the one who put the heat on the quarterback. He delivered the boom, and the wobbler taken in by Lashinsky, who returns it 60-plus yards. Excellent field position for Cole Wilbur and the offense.
If we check Lashinsky's bio, it's most likely to show he played a lot of running back in high school.
Best starting position of the day. Wilbur is going to throw, settles toward the near side. A rare touch for the fullback, Julio Perez, the junior from Watertown, with a minimal gain.
In a lot of ways, that was Wilbur's best decision of the game. He had the wide receiver out to his right who made a double move, a slant, then corner route, sometimes called the sluggo. Well covered in the two-deep zone by the Crusaders. So he pulled it down and went to his underneath check down, playing with much more poise and confidence than he did in the first half.
Parrish and Richards split left, Kumaro to the right. Pete is the running back, and he gets the hole right up the center behind the lone senior on the offensive line, Nate Truan. Sets up a 3rd and 2.
Well, it would seem that the offensive line had a little meeting at halftime because they're doing a much better job in the middle of that offensive formation.
3rd down, they'll try it to the left side. Nuh-uh. Isaiah Johnson, like he has all day, blowing up the play in the backfield.
He was lined up over the right offensive guard, and the only word to use is the one you picked, Sean. He blew up the guard, and he blew up the play.
Johnson's a guy who almost gave up on football. He had some transcript issues, was going to join the military, and then at the last second, Mary-Hardin Baylor swooped in. Gashnitsa to try to make this a 1-possession game. A little more than a chip shot, 24 yards. Good snap, placement down, kick on the way, no good. Hit the upright.
In a tight matchup like this, those are the kind of plays that have a profound effect on the final outcome. Not saying that it's been decided, but hey, that was a play for points. That was going to change the scoreboard in Whitewater's favor, and as a result, the scoreboard looks the same way.
It just had a weird trajectory off the right foot. You could tell from the get-go.
Right, the snap was like a bullet. It was placed down cleanly. That was all on the kicker.
Mary-Hardin Baylor survives the interception. Miller on 1st down.
Kim and O'Gorman, the 2 tackles lined up on the guards, have been dominant here now in the 3rd quarter against these inside runs.
Denarian Thomas, for the first time in this second half, in a quarterback. This was successful in the 2nd quarter for the Crusaders. It's a quarterback read all the way as he tries to drive forward, but Lashinsky another stop, a gain of 2 for Thomas, setting up a 3rd down.
Lashinsky is having a terrific half. He's all over the place. We just saw him back in coverage with a terrific return of a pass. He's been downhill as a linebacker. Another really good play by him. He's got a real good eye for the ball.
He's always been a good tackler, over 60 stops this year, was 2nd in the Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Association a year ago, had over 90 stops. 3rd down on the handoff. It is Miller, and I don't think he got there. He'll be a yard shy, stood up and driven back, and a 3 and out for Mary-Hardin Baylor.
Warhawks took advantage of what they learned in the first half. In that particular case, Thomas stayed in at quarterback on 3rd down. Therefore, the Warhawks did not go to a 3rd down package. They kept their base defense in there and played run all the way.
Iankoff on the punt for the 5th time, has had a pretty good day. Averaging close to 40 yards a kick, and it's a fake punt as they dump it underneath. 1st down yardage, and the bag of tricks in the Lone Star State. Derek Sides, the senior, comes up with the special teams play on the fake punt. What a gutsy roll of the die.
Well, not only was it a fake punt, it was brilliantly created. I've never seen a fake punt like that was run with what we call a submarine route behind the line of scrimmage, and what guts it took by Coach Pete Frederberg to call that in that circumstance. But those are the kind of calls that put teams in championship games.
Sides, the senior from Graham High School, his 4th reception of the year. They stick with Thomas at quarterback, and he knifes through a little bit of a hole up to the 46, a gain of 6 yards.
Oh, Sean, that ignited the Mary-Hardin Baylor sideline. That's the kind of play that obviously retains possession, helps with field position, but energizes everybody who's wearing a purple and gold jersey today.
How many times as a coach do you bounce back and forth before giving the green light on a call like that deep in your end zone?
Well, when you're really playing to win and you know it's going to take a play like that, look, sometimes players got to make plays, but sometimes the coach has got to make a play. He had confidence in that. That's a gutsy call, but that's how you win 90% of your games.
Santa Claus a little nervous. I would be too. 15 minutes of football to determine who marches in to the Stag Bowl. Mary-Hardin Baylor out in front of Wisconsin-Whitewater by 10 as we get set to start the fourth quarter. The reason, special teams play. Two huge special teams events for Mary-Hardin Baylor.
Well, one put points on the board, that makes it really huge, and the next one puts them in position to do so. And what a gutsy call by Coach Frederberg, sizing up the situation. The other team just had kind of a deflating play when they missed the field goal. He needed to do something to get his team some momentum. I bet if we looked at Derek Side's numbers, we'd find out he's another one of these fast players. And now Daniil Thomas stays on the field for this kind of hybrid offense that has been successful for the Crusaders.
So we start this fourth quarter with Thomas on an RPO, and he will sprint and pay the price. He is licked hard by Jacob Herbs. Second team all-conference performer, and here we go again. We've been down this road before. Another third down as Thomas is shaken up, and he goes down onto his back. He was hobbled a little bit earlier in the football game, and this time he stays down. He took a pretty good hit there toward the end by number 47, Jacob Herbs. See him come in. He goes high, while Garrett Purdy, the cornerback, went low.
Well, he uses that shoulder just as defensive players are instructed these days. He understood the clean hit area, which is from the shoulders down to the knees with players. And he unloaded. He's an explosive player, 5'8", 225. There's a lot of power, a lot of explosion in that body. His season has been one of big hits, and he really laid one on Thomas in that particular play. And that eliminates what has been a very effective change of pace weapon for the Crusaders.
Especially on a down and distance that's coming up for Mary-Hardin Baylor. Third down and a yard, so they bring back the more traditional quarterback in Jace Hammock. They spread out this Warhawk defense. Miller is the lone running back. And a timeout taken by Mary-Hardin Baylor.
Timeout, Mary-Hardin Baylor.
We'll take a break with them. Early stages, fourth quarter, Crusaders by 10. Denarian Thomas on the sideline for Mary-Hardin Baylor. He's been instrumental today in his limited reps, offering a change of pace option at quarterback. But now with Thomas out of there, it's going to be old Jace Hammock. The backup is Ryan Redding. See him starting to get loose just in case. Third down, less than a yard. Miller is the running back. Hard cadence delivered by Hammock, but this disciplined Whitewater defense not budging. It's a quick throw on a screen, surprise call, and the Warhawks are there for the stop. Anderson, who's been flying over the football field with the tackle.
Sean, in that case, the Crusaders kind of outsmarted themselves with that RPO play. In those kind of crucial situations, a good axiom to live by. Think players first, then plays, and the player to get the ball on that play was Markeith Miller, the powerful tailback inside. Live with the results of that when it goes to your best player.
Boy, I love these UW Whitewater linebackers. Anderson, Lashinsky, Herbs. Boy, they bring it. Kick on the way. This one will spiral over the head of the two return men and unable to get down there before it reached the end zone for the touchback. So UW-Whitewater down 10, still lots of football left for head coach Kevin Bolus in his 4th season as he tries to steer a second half comeback a long way from home.
And unfortunately for the Crusaders, that bold move by the Crusaders to run the fake punt and retain possession really didn't pay off for them in any more than another 9 yards.
From the 20-yard line, it will be a handoff over the right side, but there is Longoria and D. Jackson. Alex Pete hasn't seen a lot of carries in this second half. It's been predominantly Ronnie Ponick who's been given the ball.
Well, D. Jackson's been watching Anderson and Lashinsky from the sideline play middle linebacker, and he said, hey, I can stick it up in there too, and he really did. And there he is once again in the middle of everything.
Trying to get that ground game going over the center, Nate Truen. We haven't talked a lot about him. The senior has received a lot of interest from NFL teams. 30 of the 32 teams have paid a visit. They love his size, big number 70. He's 6'4", and he's very fast for his size.
Well, the middle of that Crusader defense has neutralized him to a large degree on that inside running game today.
On 3rd down, Wilbur steps up, pressured by Johnson, throws on the run. Kumaro at the sticks, hauls it in. 1st down, excellent recognition by the receiver, knowing exactly where he needed to go.
Not only relative to the sticks, Sean, but he parked himself right next to the sideline where the sideline protected the ball. He gave the quarterback a real nice pocket, and that ball was lasered in there right on target.
They keep the foot on the gas with this quick tempo, and getting drugged down by the jersey was Alex Pete. That's Isaiah Johnson. He stuck that big bear claw out there and grabbed some jersey.
That's 3 out of 4 runs right up the middle with Johnson being dominant. That's not the way to get back in this game at this point in time.
2nd down and 10. Wilbur looking right all the way. He's going to take off and run 35, and wisely steps out of bounds, avoids the big hit by Gibson.
Against this soft zone defense, there's receivers coming in underneath the linebackers. He's just got to find one of them and throw the ball to him. These scrambles, well, they paid off one. It's a little side dish for an offense, but if you want to really make money passing the ball, you've got to do it out of the pocket where all receivers stay viable on every pattern.
They spread it out with 4 receivers, a rush of 4, and the throw is intercepted. Picked off by Gibson, the 4th takeaway by the Crusader defense.
Perfect example of this 2-deep zone that the Crusaders play. All the defenders have their eyes on the quarterback. The ball is tipped up in the air. Everybody sees it. They make a break on the ball. Now they're in great position to put this thing away.
4th interception of the season by Keith Gibson. One of the more mature, hard-working players on this roster. Actually started his career at Mississippi Valley State. He's the father of 2 young daughters. Wanted to be closer to them in Killeen, and here he is coming away with a key interception. And now get ready for a steady dose of Markeith Miller.
We got to really appreciate Miller and his patience and his trust in his offensive linemen, that while it may not be there, they're going to fight, they're going to struggle, they're going to create something for him. He gives them a chance to do that. Now it's 2nd down and 4.
Ball not quite touching the 30. This is Miller, change of direction, slicing his way over that left guard, falls ahead for 1st down yardage up to the 27. Tranel, the free safety, another tackle along with Anderson, but a 1st down for Mary-Hardin Baylor.
All right, they're going to spend a lot of time looking at the sideline to get this play. They're in no hurry to run anything quickly. There's still 22 seconds left. They don't even have the play in yet. Hammock is doing a nice job of waiting to an opportune moment to snap the ball.
Hammock will wait for that play clock to get down to 2, and there is Miller into the secondary. Dragging defender, still not going down. Finally wrestled at the 10. Pickup of 16 yards as he goes over the 100-yard mark today.
Well, these last 3 or 4 runs right up the middle, not fooling anybody, really show the benefits of having the confidence in a team that if you just keep pounding it and pounding it and pounding it, eventually it'll break down the defense and you'll get yardage when you need it at the end of the game.
"23 rushes, over 100 yards for the 3-time 1,000-yard rusher, Markeith Miller. On first down, his 3rd straight touch, wide open space on the backside, touchdown.
Signature, Markeith Miller running.
His 28th rushing touchdown of the season. The quiet leader of the team produces, and it was all set up by the interception from Keith Gibson. The tip drill, Gibson gets the pick. Mary-Hardin Baylor, like championship teams do, able to make the Warhawks pay. They stretch the lead to 17. One ticket has already been punched for Shenandoah, Texas, Friday night in the suburb of Houston. Mount Union with a 28-20 win over Johns Hopkins earlier in the other semifinal. Mary-Hardin Baylor inching a little bit closer as they lead late in this 4th quarter. So we welcome you back to Crusader Stadium on a chilly day in Texas, but these fans all bundled up, loving it. Mary-Hardin Baylor with a 10-0 advantage, points off turnovers as they get 7 from Miller. Back up 17, still lots of football to be played, a little more than 9 minutes to go. And if UW-Whitewater missed opportunities in this second half.
Well, they've had their chance to get back in it. By the same token, so far, Mary-Hardin Baylor has made the heads-up plays to continue to make a difference. When two teams are as evenly matched as these two are, it's the little things, the punt return, the forced fumbles, play of the offensive line in the 4th quarter that separate teams. They've done all the things that create separation between two evenly matched teams.
This defense has now generated 44 turnovers this season. When they won a national championship back in 2016, it was a secondary that had 34 interceptions alone. They have 30 this year. A little dump off, and it is sniffed out beautifully, defended by, you guessed it, Gibson, the guy who had the pick a few moments ago.
Well, he saw it all the way. Really great diagnosis by the corner over on that side, playing the short flat. He saw it, he beat the blocker who came out. His interception was a result of the ball being tipped away by D. Jackson, who's playing an outstanding game, run and pass. From now on, most of his plays, as with all of the Crusaders, will be in the passing game on defense.
Second down and 11 for Wilbur, and that senior poise is going to get tested now. Pressure comes, reverse pivot, spins right. Jackson on pursuit, he'll throw, and it's caught. J.T. Parrish with his first catch of the afternoon, and it should be good enough for a first down.
Yeah, that was a called scramble. Washington Redskins many years ago when Joe Gibbs was the coach ran that dash pass. It was a principal part of their offense. That was a called play and well executed.
11-yard completion. Here's a timing pattern, a little bit too hot to handle for Des. Gibson in the vicinity.
It's Gibson's, he's on the right, he's on the left, he's wherever the ball is these days.
Wilbur is going to tuck it and run, and he will go down a protective slide to the 41-yard line. Jalen Martin, who we talked about, graduated yesterday, went through commencement exercises with the stop.
Here on third down, both Shepard and Cross, the two speed rushers, are out there on the edge.
This one up in the air, and a gutsy catch is made by Kumaro. He knew he was going to pay the price. Raylan Hickey delivered the boom, but Kumaro with the concentration.
Well, in this two-deep zone, if the outside receiver to the sideline gets free release and up the sideline, the safety can't get there fast enough. They've got to get some more jam on these sideline receivers.
Looked a lot like his brother, who was the Division III Player of the Year, now starring with the Green Bay Packers on that last catch. Parrish with a minimal gain on first down. His brother Jake was the 2014 Player of the Year, talking about Derek Kumaro. All started with their oldest sister. Very tight-knit, competitive family up in Whitewater. Second down, they will hand the ball off to Panik, and he will move the chains, barreling ahead to the 29. Another tackle for Jackson.
Crusaders continuously getting fresh pass rushers in the game. 2 or 3 of them coming in on every down.
Monty Smith, one of the fresh pass rushers, checking in along with Gallegos. First and 10, again that same play, pivots right. He's going to throw on the run over the middle, and a catch is made. It's a gain of 12. Third reception on this drive by J.T. Parrish.
Well, on that play, Parrish runs straight down the field as if he's going deep, and then he breaks it off and turns to the inside to face the quarterback, give him a nice stationary target.
Wilbur directing this drive. Quick moving drive and a hole over the right side for Pete. First and goal, 14 more. Hickey the stop, and he is still down on the turf and an injury timeout.
Well, it's gone well for Whitewater so far, but they need to cash in with a touchdown right now.
An injury timeout for the Mary-Hardin Baylor defense. That's Jalen Martin they're attending to. Timeout in the action. It's one of the Crusaders' defensive leaders, Jalen Martin. He received a medical hardship waiver 2 years ago. In 2016, he was forced to watch his team win a national championship on television. He wants to be on the field this year in 2018. We'll keep an eye on him. He's a key cog for this defense from his weak side linebacker position. First down and goal. Wisconsin-Whitewater at the 5. With the carry is Panik, and he'll be about a yard shy. Clock becoming precious. You'll see UW-Whitewater keep this tempo up.
Give it to Panik again. He hits that hole behind his pads. His legs are driving like pistons. He moves the pocket back. He's good for another yard here on second down.
Perez is the lead fullback. He will try to follow big number 35, and he lunges into the end zone for 6. Touchdown, UW-Whitewater.
Well, what the Crusaders have to be getting organized right now is their hands team. Okay, that is the kickoff return team they put out there when expecting an onside kick with only 5:47 left and a 10-point deficit. UW-Whitewater needs 2 possessions. They've got to try to get the ball back quickly.
Some late scrambling for the point after attempt, and these timeouts are going to be precious for Whitewater. So they don't want to use one on the point after. Snap down, and the kick is up, and it is good for Gashnitsa. And it becomes a 10-point game with 5:47 to go in the fourth quarter, and undoubtedly an onside kick coming up for UW
Sean,
Whitewater.
you just mentioned timeouts. This situation here proves the value of saving those precious timeouts. If Whitewater had all 3 of their timeouts, they would have the option here, with as good as their defense has been playing, they would have the option to kick it off, try to hold them and call timeout. They have no other option now other than to onside kick.
ESPN's NCAA coverage continues on Friday with the D3 Championship, the Stag Bowl, and for the first time in its 46-year history, the Stag Bowl will be played west of the Mississippi in Shenandoah, Texas. North suburbs of Houston, Wood Forest Bank Stadium opened up in 2008. Nearly 10,000 seat capacity. It's just the 5th home to host the Division III championship. A little more than 3 hours away. UW Whitewater hoping to make a second repeat trip into the Lone Star State, but they have some work to do, and it begins with this onside kick. Bouncing ball, and it's scooped up cleanly by the Crusaders, and that is Jefferson Fritz. We haven't said his name a lot today. Fritz, who set a school and conference record with 10 interceptions this year, showing those glue-like hands on the onside kick.
At no time was it more valuable to his team than this. The ball took a perfect hop right up at him. It looked like a second baseman having the ball bounce up to him. Easy throw to first. Crusaders are out on the field now. Only 1 timeout for the Warhawks. It's time to run the ball and run the clock.
From the 46-yard line, this will be Jace Hammock, and it will be Miller, who has topped 100 yards today. So now what's that schedule look like if you're UW Whitewater as far as timeouts go? You have all 3 left. You use them right away. They're going to use 1 right now.
Yeah, that means they've got none left here. So if you do the math, if you're on the sideline, okay, yeah, that one says 1. The scoreboard clock had them down to their last one. So with 1, they can still use them here right away, because you can stop the clock on offense. Obviously, with spikes or incomplete passes, you cannot stop the clock on defense other than with a timeout.
These 2 teams go 2-3 as far as the winningest program since 2010. Mary-Hardin Baylor over 100 wins. Wisconsin-Whitewater right behind them with 98. Let's not forget this Warhawk program won 3 consecutive national championships in 09, 10, and 11.
At this point, each team is now facing 2 opponents. They're facing the offense or defense on the other side of the ball, but they're also facing the clock. And how they work to defeat that clock will have a big factor in who wins the game.
2nd down and 10. And they're going to throw the football. How about this call? Sims makes the catch and cannot shake free. He was a shoelace away from maybe taking that to the house. Matt Anderson caught enough of it. And Whitewater will use their 2nd timeout. That leaves them with 1 remaining. It's been another busy day for Markeith Miller, one of the guys we highlighted at the start, the 3-time 1,000-yard rusher. And this offense just built for his style, his patience, his cutback ability, and his north-south type of running.
He not only carries the ball for his team, he carries the flag for the Crusaders, especially in the offensive side of the ball. When you've got toughness and grit like that, it rubs off on all other 10 players.
Over 1,600 rushing yards coming in to this football game, well over 100 yards today. So we saw Mary-Hardin Baylor, and they have not been gun shy today. We saw the fake punt deep in their own end earlier. They throw the football in a running situation on 2nd down. If you're UW Whitewater, you can't cheat too much here. they've kept you off balance enough. You have to respect the pass.
Well, that RPO really behind the line of scrimmage is considered by a lot of teams as just a long handoff. So pretty high expectancy of a completion. Not so much the case here. They need a little bit more yardage, but this would be a good down to use a screen, catch it, keep the clock running, maybe make the first down.
Hammock will hand it off to Miller, runs into a pile, stays on his feet. Look at Markeith Miller. That is a championship run right there from the senior. Put me on your back, I'll get you to Shenandoah.
His running said it all. There's no words that could describe it better than that player's performance. What a tough guy he is. What a gritty runner he is.
A workhorse today, 26 carries for 125 and the touchdown run earlier in this quarter. First down from the 34. Miller, 5 more yards. Herbs and Anderson in on the stop.
For all the power that he has, he's got quite a knack. He just kind of slithers and slips, kind of finds a little spot in there, then ducks into it. But his lateral quickness, as much as his power, is what he's used today for a lot of yardage. He doesn't have blazing straight ahead speed, but he's got that excellent quickness, that little jump cut, and then he can make the quick burst.
Hammock on second down. This is Miller, sidesteps a couple of defenders, gets a yard. Whitewater still with 1 timeout remaining, third down.
Another thing that's part of his toolbox of really effective assets, Sean, is his ball security. He's got that ball most of the time in his right arm based on how the ball is handed off, but he's got it pressed tight to his chest. He's got it really muscled up in there. Extremely difficult to get the ball away from him, which clearly has not happened at all today.
A damp and chilly Saturday in Belton, Texas has not slowed down this ground game. Miller looking for one more little crevice. Look at him doing all those dance moves, and he gets to the outside, and the smarts of the senior to stay in bounds and keep the clock moving as they move the chains.
He said it. Now he adds football intelligence, strategic awareness to all the other assets that he's shown. What a football game Markeith Miller has played for his team today.
Heads up play by the senior from Garland, Texas. He was a Division III All-American a couple of years ago during that championship run. They're about to get back into the Stag Bowl for the 3rd straight time. Miller trying to add an exclamation point. Bingo! Touchdown, Crusaders.
How fitting that Markeith Miller puts this exclamation point on Mary-Hardin Baylor win and trip to the finals. All day long, he's made the game planning easy for Larry Karras. There's one thing that stands out. If you're going to have a chance against this team, you better tackle this kid.
He has been a school record setter, a conference record setter throughout his years, and now in his final go-around, it's his power running that's about to deliver Mary-Hardin Baylor back to the Stag Bowl. Well, it certainly looks like we are heading down a path of a rematch of last year's national championship. in Salem, Virginia, Mount Union defeated Mary-Hardin Baylor by a score of 12-0 to capture the Raiders' 13th national championship. It looks like it's part 2 in a new venue in Shenandoah here in 2018. Mary-Hardin Baylor behind the running of Markeith Miller, his 2 touchdown runs in the 4th quarter. And the Crusaders with a comfortable 17-point lead, a little more than 2.5 minutes to go as we welcome you back inside Crusader Stadium. It's been a fun football game. We knew it would be with these 2 teams and their resumes. On the return, taking it out past the 30, up to the 32-yard line. Let's push the rewind button to the title game in 2016. Wisconsin-Oshkosh, Mary-Hardin Baylor down by a touchdown early. Quarterback Blake Jackson put the Crusaders on top by 3 right before halftime. His lunge gave them the lead. Then Jaden Johnson picked off a pass near the goal line at the end of the first half to give the Crusaders the momentum. And it was senior Matt Cody's late interception in the game to preserve the win, and a 10-7 victory in Stag Bowl 44. Wilbur goes into a skid. That's a situation where you want to get out of bounds and stop the clock. It continues. Approaching 2 minutes.
Just as Markeith Miller wisely stayed in bounds on the Mary-Hardin Baylor possession, the quarterback wanted to get out of bounds on that play.
Wilbur looks left, pumps, nothing there. Pressure up the middle, avoids trouble. Johnson still in the neighborhood. He'll whip, wheel, deal, downfield, jump ball, intercepted. And it's the takeaway machine, Jefferson Fritz. A program record 11th interception on the season. And one big party about to take place in Belton tonight.
Well, these Crusaders, they earned it today. They did all the right things on offense and defense. They ran the ball with power and authority. They had an outstanding special teams game. The coaching staff made some brilliant decisions during the course of the game. And of course, the takeaways were paramount in giving a big advantage to the crew. Congratulations to Coach Frederberg on another trip to the finals. And I know what I'm going to do next Friday night, Sean. I'm looking forward to watching this one.
What a feeling this must be for Pete Frederberg. UW-Whitewater has been their one nemesis through the years. I mean, you look at their resume, they have been able to beat a lot of the top teams, but the one blank were the Warhawks. They were 0-5 all-time against UW-Whitewater, the most recent losses happening at this stage in the semifinals. Back to 2013, the last time they met in the semis, a 1-point loss, but they have turned the tide, turned the tables here in 2018, and they are ready to go back to the Stag Bowl for the 3rd consecutive year. Second down give up near the 35-yard line. And on the opposite side, Al, if you're Kevin Bolus in this Wisconsin-Whitewater program, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be loaded with a ton of talent next year. And, you know, this is a team that came out ready to go in the second half. They just had a couple of breaks go against them. The turnovers plagued them, and then they lost the special teams battle. Too much to overcome on the road.
Well, as with every team, or so many teams, the question mark moving forward will not be at 21 other positions, but each team will have to replace a senior quarterback who's won an awful lot of games for their team. But for the crew, that's next year. Right now, they're just trying to win one more game.
Final play of the game as it's Miller pushing ahead. And for the 3rd straight year, Mary-Hardin Baylor heads to the Stag Bowl in Shenandoah. Two great coaches coming together, mutual respect. Both described this game as fun. They were looking forward to it. Traditional powerhouses at the Division III level certainly did not disappoint, but in the end, a defense that led the nation with 41 takeaways adds 4 more to that tally, and they prevail for the first time over Wisconsin-Whitewater.
Well, one thing that has changed since they both said that, it's a lot more fun for Coach Pete Fredenberg and not so much fun for Coach Bullis right now.
Mount Union, Mary-Hardin, Baylor, a rematch of last year's championship. Friday night in a new venue in Shenandoah, Texas, about 3 hours away from where we're situated. Catch all the action on ESPNU. It's been a turbulent week for Coach Fredenberg with his daughter earlier in the week going through a successful kidney transplant. All went well there, and certainly today, all went well on the football field here in their home stadium.
Just so much fun to watch these players and coaches celebrate the victory. No matter how many you win, Sean, the next one is always fantastic. Coach Fredenberg now got his 221st win, and I'm sure this feels just as good as the very first one. And he'll probably be bringing that game ball to his daughter Corey as a real present.
What a story today. Once again, your final, Mary-Hardin Baylor 31, Wisconsin-Whitewater 14. ESPN's NCAA coverage continues on Friday with the Division III Championship on ESPNU at 7 p.m. And all events airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. For Al Groh and the rest of our fantastic ESPN crew, I'm Sean Kinney, thanking everybody for watching the NCAA Division III semifinals. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Good night from Texas.